Shalom Mubaraka, Mishpaka, peace and blessings, family. In this video, we're going to be talking about the time JC sinned, right? The time Yahawashi, your beloved idol, the time he sinned. You guys like to say he was the perfect sacrifice. He was without sin. He was, this, he was that. But we're going to talk about the time he sinned. In fact, it was multiple times he sinned. And he continued to break the same law. And what law did he break, you may ask? Well, Deuteronomy 4:2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahuwah your Allah, which I command you. So as you can see, y'all said, don't add unto his word. Don't take away from his word. This is a law. This is a Torah law. Now watch this. We go to the book of John chapter 13, verse 34. It says, a new commandment I give unto you. Right already off the bat, you can see JC is adding new commandments. That ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. Now, obviously, loving one another is not even a new commandment, right? Because y'all told us to love our neighbor as ourselves, love the stranger as ourselves, right? So, yeah, that's not even a new commandment, but he's presenting it like it's a new commandment, which is wrong in two ways. Because number one, that's not a new commandment. It was already in the law. So maybe you didn't know the law, right? And then for two, even if it wasn't in Torah, you can't make a new law, bro, because that is a sin. That's going against Deuteronomy 4 verse 2. Now watch this. It gets worse, guys. Watch it contradict himself. Matthew 5:18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. But watch how he takes away and changes the commandments. Just a few verses down. Matthew chapter 5 verse 27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time. Who is them of old time? First of all, let's just continue reading. Thou shalt not commit adultery. That's what y'all said. It wasn't said by them of old time. You're acting like a human said that, but let's keep reading. Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her in his heart. Now, this scripture is ridiculous, just ridiculous, because it doesn't say that in Torah. In Torah, a man committing adultery means a man lying with another man's wife. If I think a woman is beautiful and I want that woman, that does not make me an adulterer. And it doesn't even specify a married man. It just says a man in general. So it could be a single man. It could be anything. But I'm assuming it's talking about married men here, because single men lusting after women being adultery, that doesn't even make sense. If that's the case, then he wants us all to be homosexuals. But I'm pretty sure that's not what he's saying. I'm pretty sure he's saying if a married man lusts after a woman, he's committing adultery in his heart. But how could that be the case? It was not a sin for a man to have multiple wives. So basically, he's saying that multiple wives are adultery, which is basically just an alteration of Torah. Now it gets worse, guys. Matthew chapter 5 verse 31. It has been said that whoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. Right, that's in Torah. But look how Christ changes that law. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, cause causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marry her that is divorced commits adultery. So even if you marry a divorced woman, you committed adultery. And even if you divorce your woman, you causing her to commit adultery. But that's not Torah. That's simply not Torah. It tells you that a woman who was divorced can marry again. It tells you in Torah, word for word, that if a woman gets divorced from her husband, she can marry another man. It's very simple. But Christ is saying, no, if you divorce your wife and your wife gets married again, that's adultery. What? That's literally changing and altering the law. It's literally telling you that divorce is adultery, which Torah allows divorce. Now here's a funny one right here. The next verse, it says, and ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. So basically Christ is saying, do not make any oaths at all. But that's a contradiction to Exodus chapter 22. If a man gives his neighbor something to watch over, and that neighbor loses that item, then he'll go up to his neighbor and be like, did you just steal my stuff? And the neighbor would have to swear by Yah to say, no, I did not steal your items. He would have to swear by Yah. That is a law that says you would have to make an oath to Yah that you did not put your hands to your neighbor's goods. Come on, that's a law. And Christ is saying, no, don't make any oaths whatsoever. This is why JC is an abomination. People ask, why do I say forsake Christ? Because of this. He didn't do anything except for change, add, and take away from the law. But let's continue. It's more. Ye have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and tooth for a tooth. Yeah, that's what Yah said. It's not just simply it has been said. That's what Yah said, the creator of the heavens and the earth. But I say unto you that ye resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. Come on, that means turn the other cheek. Christ is telling you, don't do eye for eye, don't do tooth for tooth, but turn the other cheek. That's literally changing the law. That's literally taking away from the law. He's sinning, guys. He's teaching against Torah. Look, verse 43, ye have heard that it has been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. That has never been written in Torah. So what is he talking about here? That has never been written in Torah, to hate your enemy. In fact, it says, if your enemy's ass fall down by the way, you shall help the ass get up. Yah teaches love, but Christ is making it seem like he's not. Mark chapter 16, verse 16, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. Now, what are they talking about? What believe do you have to do? You have to believe that JC is Lord. And if you don't believe that JC is Lord, when you die, you'll go to an everlasting torture chamber that will burn you forever. Just because you don't believe in JC, right? But not only that, you also have to be baptized, right? This is two things that's added to the law. There is no law that says that I have to be baptized in water, and there is no law that says I have to believe in JC. Hell is divine punishment. In order for God to punish you, you have to have committed a sin. Basically, we know that sin, according to the New Testament, is transgression of the law. So what law am I transgressing by not believing in JC? None. Therefore, a person going to hell by simply not believing in JC is completely false. And no, you don't have to be baptized. Where do you see baptism in the Old Testament? Many people can say baptism is how you were supposed to be cleansed after uncleanliness, which is true. Yes, when you were unclean, you did have to wash yourself in water, right? Um, or if a person had leprosy, they had to be cleansed by the priest. Now, John the Baptist was not a priest, so what was he baptizing people for? The thing that John the Baptist was doing is completely different from what the priests were doing. The priests were trying to cleanse people from actual uncleanliness, while John the Baptist was cleansing people from apparently sin. Also, John the Baptist could not have been a priest because John the Baptist did not wear the priestly garments. It is said that he only wore a garment of camel hair, which, if it was a camel hide, that would mean that he's wearing an unclean garment, which is a sin whether he's a priest or not. But the New Testament's baptism is clearly different from the cleansing yourself with water found in Leviticus 15. Therefore, baptism under the New Testament is a new concept. Exodus 16 verse 25. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto Yahuwah. Today ye shall not find it in the field. He's talking about the manna that rained from heaven, right? 6 days shall you gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day to gather, and they found none. And Yahuwah said to Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? So Yah was mad at the children of Israel because they went out on the Sabbath day in an attempt to gather manna, right? Okay, now look at this. Matthew chapter 12, verse 1. At that time, JC went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were hungered, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. So Christ's disciples are clearly gathering corn on the Sabbath day. And what does Christ do? Does Christ rebuke his neighbor like the law tells us to do? No, in fact, Christ makes excuses for his disciples. But he said unto them, Have you not read what David did when he was hungered and that they were with him? How he entered into the house of Allah, and how he did eat the showbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them that were with him, but only for priests. Well, David hadn't eaten in 3 days at that time. They just came back from battle, and the showbread was literally the only food around. David and his men were not Levitically unclean, therefore the priest allowed them to eat it. Therefore, technically, since they were Levitically clean, they were not in sin by eating the showbread. So the correlation that Christ is trying to make is invalid. Comparing David eating the showbread to you gathering corn on the Sabbath is not even a good correlation. Then we have the Apostle Paul clearly changing the law, as he says in Galatians chapter 5 and verse 1, Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Behold, I, Paul, say unto you, that if ye be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is a debtor to the whole law. Christ is become of no effect to you. Whosoever are you justified by the law, you are fallen from grace. For we through the Spirit wait in hope of righteousness by faith. Righteousness by faith, not righteousness by keeping the law, but righteousness by faith. Verse 6, for in JC neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worketh by love. So Paul is saying, if you're circumcised, then basically Christ died in vain for you. He profits you nothing. If you're circumcised, if you are doing the law, you are in bondage to the law. You are in debt to the law. So with that being said, you are taking Christ, his purpose vain, because Christ has made us free. We are no longer entangled under the yoke of bondage, which is the Torah. This is the stuff that is being perpetuated in the New Testament. And you can try to interpret this and misinterpret this in many ways to try to beat around the bush at what Paul is trying to say, but clearly he's trying to change the Torah, and he's clearly trying to get you to sin. This stuff is very simple. He's telling you that you don't have to be circumcised, which Yah tells you that whosoever of the children of Israel does not circumcise his son on the 8th day shall be cut off from his people. But we have the New Testament telling us otherwise. So, guys, I don't understand why there's still a debate. Put this book down. It is not for you.